Hi everyone, my name is Icybone and welcome back on my channel. If you've seen my previous video on Palermo, which was the recap of Season 5, it's a rather long-term serve I'm trying to do with Palermo in Football Manager 2019, and I wanted to present a bit my progress season after season, several seasons into the game. My previous season was pretty good as I finished fourth and qualified for the Champions League in 2023. But this season wasn't as good, and I even though I promised the board to qualify for the Champions League via the Serie A, I only managed to finish sixth, which is a pretty disappointing result. The board are a bit pissed with me. I lost my fifth spot to Napoli on the last day, but even then, I wasn't even in the top four the whole season. So that's a pretty disappointing season. Overall, I think we've had a rather rough start. Actually, you can see here that we've had like 7 games where we didn't manage to score a single goal, which was astonishing. Then we've had a rough, like a bit better month of November, not so good month of December. Then we finally started to turn things around in the second half of the season, but we lost against the bigger teams like Fiorentina and Milan in March. Finally, the end of the season was only easier games with basically the bottom 10 teams of the league. We almost only bottom 10 teams of the league that we beat in the last 2 months of the season. So we managed to finish the season with 11 games unbeaten record, but that wasn't enough to clinch a Champions League spot, and it's a pretty disappointing season, I would say. If we talk about Champions League, though, because I was qualified in the Champions League, we've had a pretty good run, because we were only in pot 4, so we were poised to be in a tough group, and we ended up in a rather tough group, I would say, with Real Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, and Shakhtar. I thought that we could maybe finish third and make it to Europa League ahead of Shakhtar, which we beat 3-0 and 2-0. But we did even better, because after losing home 1-0 to Bayer Leverkusen, we beat them 1-0 away. And we managed to draw the first game against Real Madrid before losing 1-0 the return game, the away game. So, which meant that we finished just ahead of Bayer Leverkusen and qualified for the first knockout round, which was quite an accomplishment. Then we were matched up against Manchester City, and after a rather close first game, which we lost at the last minutes, we 2-1. We got destroyed in Manchester, losing 6-0 after Simone Santoro being sent off quite early in the game, which meant we were eliminated from Champions League, but after exceeding the board's expectations, which were only to reach group stage, which was guaranteed because we finished fourth the previous season. Then finally in the Italia Cup, we made it to the semi-final against Juventus. We were pretty close to beating them. It was a pretty nice home and away leg. The expectations were to reach quarterfinals. We did better than that. If we just check quickly in the Italia Cup, so yeah, we lost the game. We drew 3-3 home after a pretty close game. And then we oops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, we lost. We drew 3-3 home, coming back from 3-1 down, from 3 Yeah, from 3-1 down. And then away, we drew again 1-1, but since they scored 3 goals away, it meant that they advanced. So that's the end of the season, finishing 6th and qualifying for the Europa League group stage directly. The board are not very happy with me right now, although they signed me a new contract. So I don't know. We'll see what happens if they finally get rid of me, or if I get to play another season as their manager. We have a rather interesting transfer budget for next season, over 34 million, and I'm also gonna be selling some players, so maybe we'll have the possibility to buy 1 or 2 top players. We'll see. I wanted to present quickly my so yeah, I have to go there. My recap, my Excel recap of the season. So basically I do that every season, and I try to follow a bit the evolution of some players, because I put in there all players, including my reserve team and my youth team, to track a bit their progress. And based on that, I try to construct my team for the following season. I try to identify where I might have weaknesses, and I try to identify also which player I should try to sell during the off season, which player I would need, or which role I would need to strengthen or to buy player for, and which player I should loan because they're promising, but they would need some first team game time. So to go quickly over some of the roles, on the goalkeeper position, I still have Brignoli from the start. He's been there. He's 32. He's been there ever since. I'm considering finally letting him go, especially since I have Fiori coming from the youth team, which has basically the same level. So I'm considering doing that and developing my other young German goalkeeper, which I bought last season. Considering the right back, I have Platzek, which is my most valuable player, valued at 30 million euros. He's only 19. He has a really great level already. He's had an amazing season again. So we're set on the first team right back, and then I have two very good other young right back, Justin Cambridge and François Boucher, who are also 19, who are very good potential. Boucher has already had a good season this year too, so right back is pretty good. Left back is also pretty good. I have so the first team is supposed to be Leroy Abenda, who's valued at 14 million, but he was injured most of the first half of the season, so I had to play Iverson, who's a promising young left back. And he's had an amazing season, and now that Abanda is declining a bit in potential, while Iverson has the potential to go even higher, I'm considering letting Abanda go, especially since Iverson has shown that he has the potential to be first team material. And I have Riddle here, an 18, and Zupancic here, who also have very good potential to back him up, and maybe even Buon Garzoni, but I think I'm gonna sell him because he's at his peak value. I think he's 22 and he won't go much higher than his actual level, which is not enough for top of the league. Considering central back now, I have basically two pairs of central back which are pretty good. Javier Roche, Murua, Angileri, and Camara are pretty good. Murua hasn't played a lot this season, but I think I'll try to play more next season since his potential ability is quite high. Bodzi, who's been in my youth team and I've tried to develop forever, although he's unambitious, has finally reached his peak, which is also not enough for first team or top of the league. So I'm gonna try to get rid of him this summer. I play with a central defensive midfielder, and I have basically two players which are rotating. It's Felipe Ranocchia here, who's had a good season, and Okoli, who's had an even better season. He has an amazing potential and already a very good level, although he's only 21. But he was wanted by PSG this winter, wanted to go. They came in with very big offers. I probably retrospectively should have accepted the last one, which was I think 50 million. But since he was supposed to be my best player in the team, I desperately wanted to keep a hold of him. He's been unhappy since and hasn't played that well since. But we'll see if either he changes his mind this summer or another big club comes with another big offer. Behind them, I don't have very good options, so I'll maybe try to Kopari, but I'll maybe try to find another defensive midfielder this summer. I played in with a pair of central midfielders, and then I think I'm set. I basically have a lot of options, so that's why I'm also not considering really buying a defensive midfielder, because a lot of these players can also play there. I have as first team Iverson here, who's my best player or second best player of the whole team, valued at 15 million. He's had a pretty good season as well. Santoro, he's pretty good as well. So they're both first team. And then right behind them, I have Melander, who's progressing quite a lot. He's only 20 and has a very good ability. Gillet, who was loaned out this season and has had a rather good season considering he was playing at a very poor team, so I might try to give him more first team game time next season. I have Dedic, who's still pretty young, only 17, but also I'll try to maybe rotate him in if I can. I have Varesanovic here, who's also has a pretty good level right now. He won't go much higher. He's already 25, but he can also rotate quite a lot with the rest of the team, which means that Shoshev here, who's also been here since the very first season I joined, might finally go this summer. He has a very good personality and influence on the team, so he can tutor a lot of younger players. But I think I have enough depth in midfield. So since he's 31 and won't go much higher, I maybe will try to sign him while he's still valued at 2 million. Offensive left midfielder is basically between Segla and Bailly. Segla has had a pretty good first half of the season, scored several important goals. He's valued at 7 million, so he's the first team choice. But Bailly could go even higher. They're both French. They're both playing for the under 20 French squad. So I'll try to keep them and rotate them. Maybe I will need an option to add some depth because they have quite a lot of injuries, these two players. So. And behind them, I don't have that much, except Ivan De Stefano here, who's primarily on the right wing and can also play on the left wing. But then it's on the right wing where I like depth. So I'm definitely going to look for a left or right polyvalent offensive midfielder. So on the right, we have Stojanovic and De Stefano. They've also rotated quite a lot this season, basically subbing in Stojanovic for De Stefano in quite a lot of my games. Stojanovic is a bit younger and has a bit more potential, but they're basically very similar players. I don't play with an offensive central midfielder. And then my striker, well, I have quite a lot of depth here again. My first team choice is Cosimo Marco da Graca, who's been there since the beginning as well. Same as De Stefano, by the way. And he's a very interesting player because his abilities suggest that it should be massive, but it's only valued at 4.8 million, and I think it's because of his stats, which aren't that good. He's only scored 14 goals this season, and considering we're a top team in the league and we play with only one striker, he should basically be scoring a lot more goals. So he's probably one of the reasons why we didn't finish that much higher. So I'm really hoping that he's gonna continue to develop. He's still only 22, and that he's gonna have even better seasons. With that said, he hasn't had an awful season, but I'm just expecting more from him. I have also Montrasio, who was loaned in. I'm maybe going to try to keep him from next season just for depth, because he's the only other one I have which has the level of the league. I have very good younger options behind these two. I have Yankov, who was loaned out this season. He hasn't had a good season, so I don't know what to do with him. We'll see. Maybe rotating him in if I don't keep Montrasio. I have Junior, who's 21, who has also very good potential, but hasn't had a good season on loan either. And then I have younger players such as Liguori and Dacroce, but maybe Dacroce will have some of the level he can that is needed for the Italian Championship, but not Liguori, which I'm going to try to sell. And Bovolenta and Pezzanato are younger and they're regen from this season, and they still need to develop a lot. But Bovolenta has had a pretty good season in the youth team, so I'm going to definitely try to keep my eyes on him. All right, which means that my team for next season is pretty much settled. I think I've quite strong first choice options in almost all of the roles I need for my team, which means I won't be recruiting that much. I'm still looking for a top goal scorer if I can, and meaning then that Dagraka would be just a second choice. We'll see whichever, but I'm still needing some first team material in the striker role because we're not scoring enough. Goalkeeper wise, if I get rid of Brignoli and I only keep Stark and Fiori, behind those two I don't have good enough goalkeeper, so I'm going to look for a younger goalkeeper I can develop, and that maybe will reach an ability even higher than those two. Then, as I said, I'm going to look for an left or right offensive midfielder, either first team material, because they're good, but they're 3-star or 2.5 stars current ability. So that's good, but that's not enough maybe. So if I can try to find even better players, I will. But my primary idea is still to develop those players which are still young and could reach a better level. And just maybe one central defender, because behind the four, after the four main players I have, and if I sell Bozzi, I don't really have options if I have injuries, and since we're going to be playing quite a lot of games with the Europa League, that would maybe be interesting to have. And then I'm just going to loan a couple of young players which have very good potential ability, and get rid of either useless players which will never have the level needed, so I don't expect to make money on them, but they just need to go. The main players I might try to sell are Buon Garzoni, because he won't reach a higher level, so I can maybe get 4 million for him, and that would be pretty good. Bozzi, same thing, 3 million for him would be nice. Shoshev is not a necessary sell, but if I can get some money for him while he's still valued at 2.1 million, that would be nice. Exactly the same thing for Brignoli. And then the question is, do I sell Abanda as left back? he has had he has been with us since I joined, basically, because I loaned him in the first 2 seasons and then transferred him in. But now that he's reaching his potential, and then I have very good options behind him, getting those 14 millions to get a top striker or top offensive midfielder would be maybe more beneficial to the overall strength of my team. So that's something that I'm gonna seriously consider this summer, and that basically will be it. That is if I stay this summer, because once again, maybe I won't. Maybe they're gonna fire me. But I think I've been I think I've had my contract. My contract now expires in 2028. So they should keep me. We'll see what happens. All right, thanks for watching this recap. If you have any questions, comments, please say something in the comment section. I'll make sure to reply. And I'm also active on Reddit, where I try to promote this Palermo save, which I think is a very entertaining save as you start the game in the second division, but favorites, and with a very good pool, good mix of experienced player with high determination attributes and younger players with very high potential abilities, which, as you can see, are still in my team 6 years later. Basically, guys like De Stefano, Dagraka, Brignoli, Bozzi, Santoro. Yeah, I think that's it. Those were there 6 seasons ago, and I've been in Angelieri, and I've been able to develop them to first team material. So that's the kind of thing I really like. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good day. Bye.